woke military, Fort Bragg becomes Fort Liberty. Most prominent move to erase Confederate names from bases. Thomas, why is the military so woke all of a sudden? Is this
They're
so?
trying recruitment.
Okay.
They're trying to improve recruitment. Honestly, though, I think this is really stupid.
You think it's stupid to change the name?
No, I think the reasoning behind it is stupid.
The reason behind it. You think the reason they changed the name from Fort Bragg to Fort Liberty is because they want more. Okay. I'm not going to put words in your mouth. Why did they change this name, in your opinion?
Well, it says why in the article. So Bragg was a Confederate name. I am going to suggest that nobody knows that right now. I don't I didn't know that Bragg was a Confederate name until you linked this article to me.
Okay, neither did I.
Right.
Um, I had no idea that uh, North Carolina base was originally named in 1918 for General Braxton Bragg, a Confederate general from Warrenton, North Carolina, who was known for owning slaves and losing key Civil War battles that contributed to the Confederacy's downfall. So,
Now, the argument for changing the name
mhm,
was um, to make the U.S. Army more welcoming to current and prospective black service members.
mhm.
How many of those current and prospective black service members knew what Fort Bragg's name came from?
Any that Googled it?
Any that Googled. So like 5.
Maybe.
I mean, I didn't. I didn't know it.
Okay. Well, that doesn't make it not true. The fact that
It does make it true.
we don't know it was named after a Confederate general doesn't mean it wasn't named after a Confederate general. I mean, it was.
I will suggest that the name of Fort Liberty does not sway anybody to join or not join the army.
Mm, I don't know. This is a messaging thing again. This is messaging. Hey, we recognize the past was uh, bad. This place was named after a Confederate general, and we're gonna make the future better. This is progress, I think.
I think this is at incremental at best.
I,
This
progress
is
is incremental.
very, very minorly incremental at
Yes, I
best.
agree.
And honestly, I don't
Incrementalism.
care what this fort is called.
Okay,
So
but it's not the blue-haired pronoun woke nightmare.
no,
Okay, it's just forward-moving progress. It's not a bad thing. It's not the uh, it's not.
our army could be doing a lot more to recruit people,
Mhm.
um, other than changing names.
Okay.
I mean, the problem is so severe in terms of recruitment right now, that this actually the changing of a name to drive recruitment is actually funny to me.
What is the problem?
We don't have enough people joining.
Mhm. Because this is not a thing I know about. So I'm not asking you to get to a certain point. I'm asking you because I don't know.
Yeah, well, you've got it right there.
Mhm.
Um, they have a recruiting goal to so that people that leave the service or that retire are replaced,
Okay.
and they missed that by 15,000
Mhm.
last year.
Okay. Is there a reason behind it? Is there why
Oh
is the
yeah, I do
military?
think there is a reason behind it.
Okay.
I think that in order to join an armed service, you have to have a certain patriotism. You have to have a certain love for your country.
Hmm.
Are we currently pushing or advocating in the general mainstream, not just from a recruiting perspective, but in terms of our country as a whole, our culture? Are we advocating patriotism or hatred for our own country? Are we advocating that our country is great or that our country is evil and where our history is full of malignants?
Oh, I don't think we're doing either one of those.
Oh, you don't think so?
Nope.
Do you think we used to push for patriotism? Patriotism,
More often in the past, sure.
and now we don't.
Probably because, yeah, in the past, we ignored or paved over or smoothed over all those problems that were happening in the past. I mean, um,
Well, who wants to fight for an evil organization?
I know, right? Let's
Well, wouldn't that be
let's
why we have a recruiting problem in the army?
there is a recruiting problem in the army, but the problem I think is again, yeah, you're right, social. It is a society issue, and the society sees less value in that army. And I can suggest to you why
I
they
think
see less
society
value in
sees
that
less
army.
value in our country.
Well, they see less value in the army, I
Well,
think.
they see less value in the country, and if you see less value in the country, why would you sign up to defend it?
I don't think that's the. I don't see the people of our country seeing less value in our country. They're trying to make it better so that it is more valuable. If I complain, if I, from a leftist standpoint, say, hey, Fort Bragg is named after a Confederate general, I want my country to be better. I want to be more valuable. Naming your forts after Confederate generals cheapens our country. Doesn't make it better, it makes it worse. Moving Fort Bragg to Fort Liberty is a move forward and a move up. Our country is better because we changed it from Fort Bragg to Fort Liberty.
Maybe, and that's fine. I don't. I told you I don't care what that fort
Right.
called.
Our
Um,
country is better when our army does good things. But what have we heard about the military and the wars in the past 10, 15, 20 years? Afghanistan was a fucking mess.
uh-huh.
Afghanistan was poorly planned. If it was planned at all, it was poorly planned. I don't think it was planned at all. I think it was a shit show that did not have any planning involved. It was just a rush in there and do some shit. You know,
I think that
um,
our recruitment has some to do with that, but not everything. I'll say this: I think that America has a self-hate problem, and a
no,
lot of
you
that
see it
is
as a
what's
self-hate
driving
problem.
our.
You see it as a self-hate
It,
problem,
a
but I'm
lot
going
of
to
that.
suggest to you
Well,
it's
hold
not.
on. You can suggest that, but I will say that I think that that is why we are having a recruitment problem for our armed services. Who wants to join the armed service of a country that they think is immoral and unjust and wrong? Who wants to
Who
defend
wants to
that?
join an army that's patrolling opium fields in Afghanistan? Who wants to be this guy guarding, with your life, an opium field in Afghanistan? Who wants to be the soldier that turns a blind eye to the, I think they were called, what are they called? The ANA, the Afghan National thing, their literal government, as they commit crimes. Some of them really, really bad, terrible crimes. These are Marines guarding an opium field. Why would you want to join that army?
So
This
true. But
is
nobody looks at these pictures before they make the decision.
worst case scenario. You join the military and they have you doing this. I think that's worst case scenario. They have you protecting a crooked Afghani politician.
Yeah, and
We've
and
been
that is
using
entirely possible.
we've
But
been using our military wrong, and because we're doing a bad job, and we're not planning and we're doing bad things, people don't want to join it.
No, that's not why people join or don't join the military. It's a volunteer service,
Hmm.
and the reason they do it is because they feel a an obligation to their country. People join the military not because they look at pictures of what it is that the army is doing right now. They join the military because they have a sense of patriotism.
You get that
They
patriotism from seeing all the good things that the military does.
No, you get that patriotism from loving your country.
Where do you get the loving your
You don't
country?
have to
From
you don't
seeing the
have to
good things
be
that it does. You don't base you do you base your emotions on what you on nothing?
okay. You get your love of your country from seeing the good things that it does.
Right.
So if everything that we put in the media is, "Hey, your country sucks and it's bad all the time,"
Hmm.
why would you want to join?
Why is the media putting that up? Because that's what they're doing. The media shows you what's happening. And
No, it
what's
doesn't.
happening is bad. And if the bad things are happening, and then the media shows you the bad things are happening, and then you don't want to join the military because of that, that's a solid through line of
No,
explanation.
totally, totally false. The media is telling lies in a lot of cases, and those lies propagate. And when the retraction comes out, it doesn't make the same waves that the original lie did.
I don't think
And
the media
the
lies nearly
original
as much as you think
lie,
they do.
hold on, the original lie paints a picture. It says America bad. It says America racist. It says America is sexist.
Great. I will work to make those things better, to make the country better. That's not hate, man.
But
That's not
but
self-hate.
hold
That's
on a second.
self-criticism.
If that's the view that people have of America, that Americans have of America,
Hmm.
why would you sign up to defend America?
Yeah, you're right. If the military is doing or even being shown by the I'll grant you that the media lies all day every day. I don't believe it, but
Oh,
we'll
they certainly
use that
do. The
explanation.
Okay, go ahead and finish your thing, and then I'm
Okay.
going to bring up a
Okay.
topic.
They're lying all day every day. The we're spreading freedom around the planet, but they're not reporting on it. All the media does is complain about how racist and sexist and hateful that the American Army is, and then people don't want to join it. Those people could and should work to make things better. How do you make things better? One, acknowledging that there's an issue. Two, trying to be an activist and make the things better by changing the name of your fort, by taking down old Confederate statues.
It won't do anything.
What do you mean it won't do anything? That's
It won't make
literally
any change.
progress. How will that not make
It's
change?
progress in the name of doing nothing. And I'll
That's
tell you why.
literal
The
progress.
media,
Literal progress.
no, the media is the reason that people don't feel that sense of patriotism right now.
Because they're telling you, my position is you're right. That's correct. And the reason they're telling you these things is because that's what's happening.
No, it's not.
That's not what's happening. Don't believe
No,
what the media
the
tells you.
media is the reason, and also they're lying.
About what?
Okay. Well, how about Michael Brown? Let's go back in time a little bit for 10 years because this is an issue that um, is a long time in the making, right? Remember Michael Brown?
I probably do. Wikipedia, the killing of Michael Brown. This started off the BLM movement, yes?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
Yep. And do you remember the original narrative around Michael Brown?
That he was shot by a police officer.
Yeah, with his hands up, said hands up, don't shoot. That
Mm-hmm.
slogan.
Mm-hmm.
That comes from the Michael Brown thing.
Okay.
Um, Michael Brown was or had just stolen actually from a convenience store,
Mm-hmm.
and a police officer had stopped to talk to him. He attacked the police officer and then tried to run away.
Mm-hmm.
The police officer drew his gun and told him to stop. He turned around and then charged the police officer, and the police officer shot him. And the autopsy says that there's no way that the bullet holes that were made were made if the narrative the media put out was true.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the narrative the media put out was that Michael Brown turned around and put his hands up,
Mm-hmm.
and then the cop shot him.
Right. They told
Not true.
a not true
It
story.
was a lie. A not true
That's
story is
what-
a lie.
That's what
They told a lie.
Witnesses
They lied
said.
about it,
Witnesses
and
told the
then
media that. Witnesses lied to the media. The media reported what the witnesses said.
A witness, by the way, who
Witnesses
was
to
on
the shooting
drugs.
claim Brown had his hands up in a surrender, don't shoot, so protesters later used that slogan. Witnesses lied to the media.
No evidence Brown had done so.
Yeah.
Immediately afterward, there was
And that FBI investigation doesn't come out for weeks. So you're right. The media reporting bad information caused people to get upset.
Yes, it did. And the media was telling not truths. They were lying.
I agree. They were wrong, but they're not lying if they tell you what a witness said. And that witness is lying.
The investigation itself is a matter of very high importance, especially when it results in the kind of response from the community
Mm-hmm.
that it did. This is, I mean, the fact that the media just went, "Hey, did you see it?" And by the way, my recollection
Mhm.
is that only one of the witnesses that they interviewed actually saw what happened, and that guy may have lied. But
Okay.
the rest of the supposed witnesses didn't actually see it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know who the plural is in witnesses, because there may have been one. But CNN went, but every news channel around the fucking planet
Mm-hmm.
reported, oh, the guy, put his hands up, said don't shoot, and then got shot.
Mhm.
Not true. It's
Not
all
true.
false.
Okay.
I will go so far as to say Michael Brown was rightfully shot
It's
because
entirely
he was charging the police officer when he was shot.
the investigation cleared Wilson of civil rights violations in the shooting.
Yes, it did.
Okay.
Except for the fact that if I talk to anybody in normal discourse and ask what happened to Michael Brown,
He
well,
was killed by a police officer.
well, of course he was, rightfully. He was rightfully killed by a
Did he
police
have
officer.
a gun on him, Mr. Michael Brown, at the time?
You don't have to have a gun on you to be a lethal threat. The dude was like 270 pounds
I don't care.
and beat
Boss,
the fucking and actually
I
he
don't
beat the
care.
shit out of the police officer in his
Yes.
car first.
I know. I don't ever want cops to kill civilians. I don't want them to.
Civilians shouldn't attack cops.
I know they shouldn't. I don't want them to do that either. Cops have to be the brave one in that exchange. They have to.
Well, my point here is the media painted a picture that says cops are randomly and incorrectly shooting black people on the basis of the Michael Brown shooting.
No, they've been saying that
And
for a very
this
long
was
time.
like, well, this was sort of the impetus for this whole movement, right?
This did get a movement started. But I'm telling
But
you,
it's
this
not
wasn't the first
true.
time the people in Ferguson, Missouri had issues with the cops. They've been having very many problems with the cops for a very long time
That's
in
fine.
Ferguson, Missouri.
My point is, when we're talking about a patriotism problem,
Mhm.
when it's a matter of army recruitment, which is what we were talking about,
Mhm.
when our media goes out and reports all of these things incorrectly in many cases,
Hmm.
you erode the patriotism for the country. And when you erode that patriotism, of course you're going to have recruiting problems for the military that's a volunteer service.
Okay, now I'm with you so far. How do we get that patriotism back up? By making the country better. By passing laws to prevent the Ferguson things from happening. By understanding that these people have a problem with their government. By understanding that Fort Bragg is a bad name, changing it. Make the country better. You will increase the patriotism.
I'm not arguing against changing Fort Bragg's name. I don't know why you
Okay,
keep bringing this
I
back.
know, but
I don't
you
care
said
what
it was
the
nothing.
fort's
You
name
said
is.
it was
It
pissant
is
nothing.
nothing.
It is nothing. Nonsense. It's something. Baby step.
It is
Yes.
nothing because people don't know what Fort Bragg was named for, and nobody Googles it. Nobody cares.
Somebody knew. That's why they changed it.
You might increase our recruiting numbers by 1.
Does that
Not by 1%, by 1.
does that make Michael Brown back to life? No. Does it make Ferguson a better place? No. But it makes one tiny little step toward being better. Hi, we hear you. We hear your complaint. We hear what BLM has to say, and we're
Your,
trying to be
hold on.
better.
Your
That's
point
called
is
progress.
that this is supposed to increase recruiting for the army,
By
changing the name.
yes, it's
I'm
them
saying
signaling that we're trying to move forward and make progress.
that's fine, and I told you
Great.
I don't care if they change the name. What I'm saying, I'm getting at a larger point here.
And okay.
I'm getting at the larger point of this is not going to solve our recruiting problem
No, it's not.
in the U.S. Armed Services. Not at all. The problem comes from a larger cultural issue
Great.
that we are experiencing right now.
Do you have any prescriptions for making that culture better? Because I do. It's
Yeah, stop
changing the
lying.
name of Fort Bragg to Fort
Okay, well, they've done
Thing,
that, so
and
I'll tell you what, in 5
getting rid
years,
of
we'll find out if our recruiting problem was fixed or
okay,
not by
okay,
changing Bragg to Liberty.
and getting rid of Confederate statues, DEI initiatives. Those things get us away from this problem, this societal problem that you're talking about. Have you got a prescription? Have you got an idea what actually would solve the problem? Does this solve the problem entirely? No, but it's one tiny step towards solving the problem. Do you have any ideas for that?
Yeah, I've got a few.
Okay.
You can bring back the national anthem in schools. That'd be great. You can uh, make it a criminal offense to lie about certain happenings, or not a criminal offense, but let's say that the police officer that was involved in that Michael Brown killing had the right to sue the news outlets. It was easier to prove defamation against them. I think he should be able to do that. I mean, his name was dragged through the mud. He did the right thing in the end. He defended himself. He didn't
Mm-hmm.
escalate force without reason, and yet his face and name was in the media for like a year, basically.
Mm-hmm.
As a result of this, dragged through the mud, and yes, he should be able to sue the pants off of every single outlet that falsely reported on him.
I think he should be able to sue them for defamation and things like that.
Well, great. Well,
If they did the
there's a state
defamation,
that made it so that that's possible.
if they're defaming him, if they're just reporting on what the witnesses say, then they're not defaming him. If the news is lying about you, you get to sue them. That's already a thing. Yes, if the media is lying to you, you get to sue them. It happens. We already have laws for that. Did,
No, they're
uh,
we've talked about this before. They are far too charitable to the liar in the
no,
case
they're
of
far too charitable toward the media because they don't want to constrain the media because of the First Amendment. Restraining the media is a bad idea.
Not if they are lying.
Oh, didn't we start today's stream with you complaining about me saying that Ron DeSantis was lying and YouTube and Facebook were blocking about because of it? That's
Yes.
not okay. It's not okay when Ron DeSantis lies about COVID to block him on Facebook and YouTube, but it is okay to sue CNN for saying the wrong thing. That you're looking at the ends and then deciding what was right and what was wrong in the past. This is a hindsight argument, I think.
Not at all. No. I don't like the censorship of information on COVID because the information was continuously changing. So even the media outlets that censored information didn't know what the truth was.
They have to do their best. They have to do the best they can. They have difficult decisions to make in that situation, and they made them.
And
No.
also,
Okay.
I don't agree with the idea of banning people that say Michael Brown put his hands up saying don't shoot. I don't agree with censoring people that use the hands up don't shoot slogan. I do, however, agree with the idea that when people post that, there should be a lot of other people that come in and say, actually, that's bullshit.
Great.
You're
That's
full of shit.
freedom of speech. We're
It
okay there
is.
so far. I'm on board with you. We're freedom of speech. If the
Now, hold on a
that
second.
cop gets to sue,
That cop
yeah, he gets to sue them for lying. Great,
gets
but
to
that
sue
has
them
to
for
happen
lying because
after.
that cop specifically was defamed. If I
Right.
say,
That's after the
if I
fact.
go ahead and say, um, masks don't work, and also when you get COVID, you should take ivermectin.
Hmm.
Who got defamed?
Who got defamed? You're lying,
Well, yeah.
and you should be
It,
censored.
no,
Yes,
it's a matter
that's
of
bad information, and you shouldn't spread it around. That
see.
information
So
that you just
well,
passed is
there's our
harming
difference right there.
people.
Is there that's the answer to your question.
Hmm.
Is in this case an individual was defamed. His name was dragged through the mud,
Hmm.
and yes, he should have the right to sue every media outlet that falsely reported on what he did.
If
In terms of
I mean
COVID,
those rules
the
exist, and he
media put
can.
out lies, and people put out lies,
Uh-huh.
and none of them should be banned from media for doing that, but they should all be called out for what their lies were. That's two different things.
Yeah, but I don't agree. Uh, the
Why don't you agree? I mean,
because
this is a
if you're
guy's
spreading,
livelihood. Like,
okay, I'm okay with the first part. Hey, that cop, if he was defamed on the news, should get a lawyer and sue them. Great.
yes, and it should be
I'm on
easy to sue
board.
them.
Separate issue. That's done. It's over. We're moving forward to a different topic. The topic is people who are lying right now about a pandemic that's killing 1 million people. Let's not let them lie. Let's not allow them to spread misinformation. How do you do that? You have to hire somebody who listens to the official narrative and understands it, and then flags and bans people who are posting misinformation.
We are that is
Why is that second?
two
Why is that
hold
last
on.
part? Yeah,
Those
two
are two
different problems.
completely different things.
Yes, they are.
Right?
Why are you comparing them?
You made the comparison.
No, I didn't. You
You're the one
did.
that brought it up.
Okay.
No,
All right.
I
All
said
right. All
that
right. All
the
right.
cop
You're right.
should be allowed to sue every one of those media outlets that lied about him for defamation.
And
And you
I'm agreeing
said,
with you.
well, hold on a second. How is it possible that that cop should be allowed to sue those people for defamation and they shouldn't be allowed to lie about him, but you can lie about COVID, which you talked about at the start of the stream? That's what
Okay.
you said.
That is what I said because
Uh-huh.
I compared them.
You made the
You're
comparison.
right. I compared them because I saw a flaw in your logic.
There's
They're
no
two
flaw.
different problems. Let's not conflate them. I'm going to stop conflating them.
Thank you. I appreciate that you wouldn't conflate those two completely different problems.
Okay. It seemed like they were related. They are not related.
Naturally.
What were we talking about? Okay. Yes, you are right. I should not conflate those things. Um,
Yes.
how did I do it and why? Um, is because I don't know a lie happened and then you want a consequence, but when a different lie happens, you don't want a consequence. That's how I got that to that point. That's why I
That's fine.
conflated them.
It's just that there are very different situations between them.
You're right.
So I will go further because we were talking about our recruitment problem
Hmm.
in the U.S. military. I would say that there is an overall sort of degradation of patriotism in um, in our country. I mean,
I
we
would
don't
agree to that. I would say
teach
yes, that's true.
love for our country. We teach, hey, our country's actually bad. That's what we teach nowadays,
Well, because we have more
and
access to
and that's
information.
where everything is, and it's in the schools, it's in the media. We don't teach the love for our country that is necessary for recruiting numbers to go up.
And I'm going to suggest
And
that's because of the information age that we're in.
or maybe just because we have bad actors in some cases.
No, pretty sure it's the reality. We've looked at history. We've looked at the documents that we have found and determined that the history we got taught by the boomers not entirely accurate.
It doesn't have to be entirely accurate. The
I'm going to quote you
problem
on that.
really,
History doesn't have to be entirely accurate.
it doesn't have to be entirely accurate for the sake of patriotism and whatnot.
Of
The
course it does.
hold on, the history that we're taught can include things that are bad things that we have done. But what we've done is make those bad things a total focus. Why is it that we never focus on the good things that we've done?
We did that when the boomers taught us stuff. We
Can we do both at the same time? Because it seems that we don't.
um I think we can do both, and I think we are, but
Like, hey, we did
humans.
slavery. Yes,
Hmm.
we had slavery. Also, we abolished slavery. Like, that's a pretty good thing. And also, slavery still exists in a lot of the world.
Okay, great. That that doesn't mean that everything's perfect now.
No,
That doesn't
nothing
mean
is
that
perfect. It
racism's
doesn't
gone. That
have to be
doesn't mean that
perfect.
everybody gets a fair shake. Humans are generally, uh, what's the thing where you only remember the bad things? You have like a bias towards remembering negative things. That's just how the human brain
That's just how a
works.
human brain works. It's
Right.
everybody. What is it?
Negative confirmation
There's
bias,
like
I
a
think.
certain no. There's a certain rule of thumb. It's like one negative experience can outweigh up to three positive experiences in the same
Yeah.
category.
And
So
so when you
yeah, we
look,
haven't.
yeah.
But hold on, isn't that an argument for pushing a little bit more of the positive rather than the negative, which we push a lot of the negative right now?
No, you're only seeing the negative for that reason that you just described. You just
I
described.
would I would posit that or suggest that a lot of what we're fed right now by the school and institutions and the media and whatnot, those things are majority negative right now.
Oh, I
And
don't
if
think that
it is the
happens
rule of
until.
thumb that you need three positives
Mhm.
to negate one negative, then we definitely don't have enough positives, especially in the media.
Oh, I
I
don't think
mean,
that enough positives exist uh, to outweigh the negatives. Uh, I don't think that negative description that you were talking
I
about
certainly don't think
starts
that
until college. Generally,
I
generally
certainly
doesn't
don't
start
think
until
that
college.
well, it starts earlier than that. It starts in early high school or late middle school, but or at least when I was in school, that's when it started. But I would say that we could probably do without making up extra negatives.
Who's making up history?
The media, when
The
they talk
media's
about the Michael
making up
Brown story.
history. Okay. The media made a mistake, did a bad job. I'm not going to
Well,
suggest they
okay,
didn't.
hold
They
on.
didn't
This
make up
you're
a
we're playing this like it's or you're playing this like it's a one-off event. What about Trayvon Martin?
that was also a cop killing it. No, that was the individual guy killing the kid, right?
Yeah, after the kid beat the shit out of him and attacked him.
And after he was told not to follow that kid by the 911 operator, right? The
Now, yes,
911 operator
he
said,
was
"Do
not
not
supposed to
do
follow the kid,
that."
but the kid
Great. He did it
attacked
anyway.
him.
So he made a choice to be a vigilante. Vigilantism is not good. The guy who killed Trayvon Martin, who is still like a celebrity and sells things on eBay that he signed, uh, is fed by negative uh, media, right wing media, telling him that cities are dangerous, that thugs are going to come get him, they're all out there playing the knockout game, and he needs to arm himself to be safe. That is the bullshit that he's been fed. And so he's been fed lies as well. The lies happen on that side too. And he took that information as the cops are useless and they're all PC, blue haired pronoun carriers, and he needs to do this himself. The 911 operator said, "Do not follow that person," and he did it anyway, and he fucked around
Does
and then he
him
found out.
following that person, hold on, does following that person justify the fact that he was attacked?
Following that person is a situation, is a dangerous situation that he was told by a professional not to get into.
Well, you know what? I am hereby telling all women not to dress like sluts. Because if you dress like a slut, you're more liable to be raped. And if you
And it's
did that,
their fault
then
now. Way to go.
it's your fault.
Now it's their fault. You're
Well, that's
victim
exactly
blaming.
what you just did.
No, I did
Do you not
not.
see that? You
He's
just
not the
said,
victim.
"Oh,
He's
he's not."
alive, selling things on
He was the
eBay.
victim. He was the
He's
victim of an attack, and he defended himself from it.
he was stalking. First of all, he was stalking someone because he had vigilante brain rot. He had vigilante brain rot. He thought that he was the Punisher, and he thought that he needed to protect his area from these scary monster nightmare super thugs. And so he had vigilante brain rot from right-wing media, and then he started stalking a kid. And then that kid didn't know who it was, panicked, freaked out, thought he was being robbed, and fought back.
No, that's not what happened at all.
That's exactly what happened.
No,
The
no.
he has vigilante brain rot. The 911 operator told him not to do it. He doesn't have a right to do it. You don't have a right to stalk people while you're armed. It is a dangerous situation, and that dangerous situation that he willingly and intentionally put himself into because of his brain, because of his society, because of his social thoughts, put him in a dangerous situation. And that dangerous situation ended in the loss of someone's life. He is not a victim here. What was his name?
He was definitely the victim of an attack. I don't remember his name anymore.
That he provoked.
He didn't provoke shit.
He was stalking a person in a
It's not
dangerous neighborhood.
stalking. No, he was keeping
He
an eye
was
on a guy that he didn't recognize that seemed to be behaving weirdly. It no.
And then he called the
He
cops, and he thought the cops weren't good
called the
enough, so
cops.
he did vigilantism. If you start the vigilante actions, and then something bad happens, it's your fault for starting the vigilante actions.
It's not a vigilante action to
He was
look at
being a
somebody.
vigilante. I have read those accounts. He was being a vigilante.
No, he called the cops. He was like, "Hey, this guy's acting weird." They said, "Yeah, don't fuck with that guy." He didn't. He just kept an eye
He
on him,
did.
and
He
they got
followed
attacked.
him. He was told not to follow that individual. He was told what to do by the authorities, and he disregarded it. And then things went wrong because he didn't follow the authorities. Because he thought he knew better. He is smarter and better than the authorities. He's better than that 911 operator. He's better than the cops because he has vigilante brain rot.
So he was there. Is it? So you are blaming him then for being
He's not the
attacked.
victim.
He is the victim.
No,
He was
he's a
attacked
perpetrator.
first.
He was stalking someone illegitimately. He is victimizing this person. This person, Trayvon Martin. Then, while being victimized, and thought that they were. We don't know what he was thinking, but a person is following you. It makes you nervous. And now he's nervous. This is exactly why the 911 operator told him not to do that. George Zimmerman thought he was smarter than the 911 operator. George Zimmerman thought that he was uh, smarter and better than the cops and needed this done because the cops weren't going to do what he wanted. He is
Also,
being a
I just looked it up.
vigilante.
You're wrong. The
About
cops
what?
didn't tell him not to follow him.
That's the report I read on the 911
No,
operator. The 911 operator
no.
told him, do not do this. Do not follow this person.
So, first of all, this is part of the community watch. It was George Zimmerman, the community watch. Right? I mean, community policing is one of those things that's like a big thing for the left, isn't it?
To report to the police, not follow, stalk them while
Now,
armed. That's not part of it.
the timeline is he called the police department at 7:09. Um, it's a 4-minute long call, and the dispatcher says, "Are you following him?" Zimmerman says, "Yes." Dispatcher says, "Okay, we don't need you to do that."
Great. We
Zimmerman
don't
says,
need you to
"Okay."
do that.
Now, hold on.
He's a
We don't
vigilante.
need.
From that point on, he's a vigilante. And it's over.
No.
It's done.
Stop. Hold on. You said the police told him not to do that.
We
Not the same
don't
thing as
need you to
we
do
don't
that.
need you to do that. Two different assertions there.
He's a vigilante. At that point, he's a vigilante. We don't need you to do that. And he does it anyway.
No, no,
It's
no.
because
We
he's
don't need
taking
you
the
to do
law into
that.
his own hands.
That's not the truth. No.
That's
The
exactly
fact,
what
no.
happened. You're
Saying that
describing it to me, and I'm hearing it.
we don't need you to do that is not the same thing as don't do that.
Fine. I take back my point that said they told him not to do that. We do not need you to do that. Means don't do that. He's a vigilante from that point forward. He is a vigilante.
No.
And who likes him? Who talks about how great Zimmerman is? Other right-wing vigilantes.
Nobody talks about how great Zimmerman is. Nobody
He's
gives a fuck
selling
about
shit
George
on
Zimmerman.
eBay.
What I care about is the fact that the media has lied about this as well.
Because it's a shitty situation on both sides. There's no good right answer. I can call George Zimmerman a vigilante, and I think that I'm literally factually correct. But you can also talk about how Trayvon Martin is this cute little kid that um, look how cute he is here. This child got murdered. You can bend narratives to whatever you want them to be. That's not a lie. The media saying this kid was fatally shot is not a lie. They're saying that he was shot by this guy who was told not to. I say even then, being said we do not need you to do that is being told not to do it. And you can post up very cute photos of this kid and make people feel bad for Trayvon Martin, or you can post up the scariest, angriest photo you can find of George Zimmerman and paint him as a bad guy. But that doesn't mean it's not. That doesn't mean it's a lie. It's just a side.
The
There are
point that I'm
sides.
trying to make here
Mm-hmm.
is the lies by the media have resulted in an undermining of patriotism.
The lies by the media convinced George Zimmerman that he needed to be a vigilante.
Oh, stop.
He didn't get
It's
vigilante brain rot from nowhere. He got it from media lies.
He wasn't being a vigilante. Just stop. He was attacked first. And when we look at the pictures, you just mentioned it. When we look at the
Mm-hmm.
pictures of Trayvon Martin,
Mm-hmm.
you notice how they're all from like when he's like 13, 14 years old.
Yeah, I know. That's a
the media
narrative.
did their best
Yes.
to portray this as a dude that was killing like a 13-year-old.
Hmm. They didn't say this is what he looked like 5 minutes before he was shot. They said here's a picture of the kid. He was
But
17-year-old.
doesn't that omission sort of paint a narrative?
Yes, the media paints narratives all the time. We have to comprehend what those narratives are and why they're doing them.
He was 17, yes, which is what Kyle just put in chat. Yeah, he was
Yeah,
17,
he
but
was.
all these
This is a
pictures, all the
this is a
pictures that you
photo. Yeah.
all the pictures you find of Trayvon Martin in the media are from when he was like 13,
Because they look
including this
nice.
one.
What if he didn't have any 15, 16, 17-year-old photos? I have not had a photo of me taken in probably 3 or 4 years. You know? So if you
The
took a photo of
Well,
me,
no, there are photos that are available,
well, other than
but
YouTube, you're
they're
right.
not flattering. Um,
That too. Maybe they wanted to flatter him. Regardless, the
or maybe
media,
they wanted to paint the picture of somebody killed a little black kid and put
which
it
is
in the
what
news.
happened. That's what happened. Does choosing of photos set a tone? Yes, it does. But the media is going to set tones because that's what humans do. That's how humans tell stories. Um, the media handled this one just fine.
You think so?
Yes,
No.
the media is going to get lots of information. They're going to get information, they're going to report on it. We have to be intelligent enough to see what they're doing, see what they're saying, comprehend what they're talking about, and recognize where the narratives are and what they're trying to lead us towards, and if they're trying to lead us towards it. There is no such thing as unbiased reporting. No such thing anywhere outside of maybe like sports stats. I don't think that any sort of unbiased reporting even exists anywhere ever, and it never has, and it never will. Do you think unbiased reporting can exist?
So I think bias reporting can
No,
exist.
unbiased reporting.
Unbiased reporting can exist. Yes.
Mm-hmm. I don't think it can exist. It's just literally impossible. And it's literally impossible because it's being done by humans with their stupid brains through text on screen or their stupid language, which is an imperfect delivery device.
Isn't reporting supposed to be factual?
No, it's
Oh,
not. It's
so
never.
reporting
It's
is
supposed
not
to.
supposed to be factual.
It's
Okay.
supposed to be telling you what happened. It's informational, not factual. It's informational. There is a slight difference between informational and factual.
You're gonna have to
Um,
parse that one out for me.
information is telling you what happened. Information is that Trump story we discussed at the beginning. Here's the information. Here's what we've got. Here's what the witness said. Information is what those witnesses said. Hands up, don't shoot. Information. Witness said the kid, Michael Brown had hands up, said don't shoot. The fact is that that's not what happened.
And those witnesses were found not to be credible
They were
because they didn't
not
actually see
factual.
what
Right.
happened.
They were not factual. But that information exists. Information can be bad. Information can be wrong. Information
And it
can be
exists in the
incorrect.
and that information is correct, and the media blasted that out through
That's bad
airwaves. And
information.
then,
Yeah.
hold on,
That's what the media is, man. It's information, not facts. You think that the media is facts is just the wrong state of mind to be in.
it is fact in a lot
No.
of people's mind. How I'll
Because
ask
they're
again.
dumb. They're dumb. They're wrong. We need
A
we
lot
talk
of
about
people are dumb.
yeah, a
A
lot of
lot of
people are
people are
dumb.
dumb.
A lot of people are dumb.
We should not be putting in the media wrong information, especially if that information results in a massive problem for the culture of our country. If that results in a recruitment issue for our armed services and that information was false, maybe that information should have been vetted first and verified first before it was reported on. But because it was a sensational headline, it got reported,
Information.
but it wasn't true.
Okay. I'm gonna do the thing that I always do. Why was that sensational information reported on?
Because it was sensational.
Right. Why does a news organization want to put out sensational information?
You're going to make this whole capitalism thing,
I
aren't you?
sure
Get the
am.
fuck out of here.
I sure am. Why does CNN print sensational information before it's vetted? So they can make a buck. If you try hard enough, all of our problems come back to capitalism. And now I've completely changed the subject, and I apologize. I'll stop.
Not well regulated enough capitalism. You understand? I'm not a libertarian. I'm a fan of regulated capitalism, and I'm advocating for some regulation here. And
Okay.
you, every time I bring this up, you argue against it.
Against regulation?
I'm arguing for
Oh,
regulation.
I love regulation. It's fine.
No,
Yeah.
because every time I bring up, hey, you shouldn't be allowed to lie about this thing, or you shouldn't be allowed to lie in the media, or you should be able to sue media companies for defamation, and it should be easier to sue them for it and win. You go, well, what about freedom of speech?
Uh-huh.
That's what you do every time.
Okay. So
why aren't you on my side?
information is what we're talking about. You're saying that the news is facts, and that's not the way it ought to be. It's not the way it is. It's not the way it's ever been. You have the wrong mind. You're looking at it. You're framing it wrong. This is a framing issue. The news is information, not facts. The news is information and not facts. The fact that you think that they've been reporting facts all this time means that you don't comprehend what they are,
They're
what they do, and why they do it.
supposed to be reporting facts.
No, not
That's
true.
what the news
it's
is
never been
supposed
correct.
to be.
No, it's information, and we need to comprehend that information might be wrong. That information is a report of
There
what was
is
said.
nobody that makes this distinction in the real world
and that's why
looks
our
at
society doesn't comprehend what the hell's going on, because they're not educated properly. They don't.
Because the news is supposed to be
properly.
facts, and they are taught to trust the news and what the news says and what the media says, and then when the media lies, they believe it.
Because they've been taught wrong. They all need to listen to me and listen to that it is information and not facts. Take this information, comprehend it, compare it to other information that you have, make decisions based on the information and all the information that you can gather. That's not facts. The description of the witness said, hands up, don't shoot, that's information. It's not a fact. And that's how the news media gets around these lawsuits that you're talking about, is because they don't say, oh, this is the fact. They say, here's what we've heard, here's what's been reported, here's the witness statements.
Yeah, well, actually, it's one news station lies.
Telling you.
Hold on. One news station tells a lie, and then the rest report on this news station told this lie. So if CNN says Michael Brown put his hands up and said, don't shoot.
Okay, CNN said that.
Then
they said the
New York Times then says, according to CNN, Michael Brown put his hands up and said, don't shoot.
And you're smart enough not to fall for that, aren't you? You're smart enough not to fall for that.
I am, but
I'm
the majority of people are not.
Then we need more smarter people.
Well,
we need to explain this to people. We need to describe it to them. We need to make sure that they comprehend
the
world they're living in.
It's literally not possible.
It is. We can make people smarter.
We can't.
I'm willing to bet average IQs have gone up over time. People are
they
smarter
have. It's
today.
called the Flynn effect.
They can comprehend it. We can explain it to them if we tell them the right way.
They have to be willing to listen, and also, you're not going to get to everybody, and also, you're not just going to get to everybody, but you're not going to get to any reasonable number of people that would stop this problem. The problem is that we are taught to know or to understand that the news is reporting facts. And they're not. They're telling lies in a lot of cases. Sometimes intentionally, sometimes not. But in either case, what they're doing, maybe you can agree, is unethical.
reporting what happened and then telling people this is what the witnesses said is not unethical.
Even
If
if
you
you didn't
comprehend it
verify what
wrong,
the witnesses said was true.
right? It's not their job to do that. Here's what they are saying. Here's what's happening. Here's what
They don't.
the
You don't
reports
think that
are.
people have a general duty to?
I want them to be correct. I want them to only put out correct information. But things are going to get wrong sometimes. If you want a more uh, going towards what you're describing, that you want a more correct, more factual based stuff, means that it can't be breaking news. It can't be, here's the thing that happened just now, live, right now, car chase. We can't do that anymore. If you want it to be more factual, facts take time. Information and reporting happens right now. Right now.
Yeah,
Go, go, go.
I think that this breaking news format itself is a detriment to society. Yeah, I would say that.
And it might actually be.
I would absolutely never comment on something that just happened, this past week. I want to know what the information is on it before I make comments on it.
Sure, and that makes sense. You aren't trying to maximize the amount of people watching your content so that you get 2% more on the Nike ad. That's what CNN is doing. They're giving people information. That's what news channels are doing. They're not giving out facts. They're giving out information. And we need the people to see that information. We need them to stick around, and we need them to hear it and come back for more and watch our ads.
I see the point you're making, but I do think that there is a middle ground. I think that if you are telling lies, especially about people, it should be quite easy for those people to recover a certain monetary sum. Maybe it should be however much money you made in the during the segments that you aired the lies about them.
I wouldn't be against some sort of regulation for that, but
Well,
yeah,
the
regulation
the,
has
the
to.
regulation would be a defamation case in the first place,
Right.
and then also above that would be regulation about lies that actually harm society. Like,
How do you measure societal damage? It's impossible. You can't say this society damage was worth 17 million and that's how much you're going to get. It, society is a complicated tapestry that you can't really. It's hard to measure things within
that's fair.
society. You know.
Well, then I'll stick with the defamation stuff
Okay.
first. Um, why did you argue against me a couple weeks ago when Florida passed a defamation bill that made it way easier? It lowered the bar for defamation.
Oh, because I think Ron DeSantis is an actual fascist who is going to use that to harm his political opponents.
But but do you think the bar for defamation should be lowered or not?
The bar for defamation should be lowered. Um,
It's very,
maybe,
very hard to prove right now.
maybe it's hard to put a pin on it, but maybe um, it should be lowered a little bit. But at this, and that would lead to a slower, more factual newscast. I
I think that would
think
be great.
capitalism is going to push back on you because that would lead to less of the breaking news. I mean, we can turn on any of the news channels right now and look at the breaking news, and if something exciting is happening, they're going to film it and they're going to put it on TV.
Yes, I want less breaking news and I want
Okay.
less lies.
Okay. Well,
I want, I mean,
that's
uh,
fine.
what was his name? Nick Salmon. Remember him?
No, who's Nick Salmon?
He was the one that was in high school, and some Native American guy that was at like a protest or whatever, like was beating his drum in his face
Mhm.
and whatnot. And they took a picture and said that Salmon was like a racist or whatever against Native Americans. And it turned out the whole video was nothing even remotely close to what was reported.
It was a media spectacle. Yes, I agree.
And they
The
made it one. It wasn't
Well,
a media
of course they
spectacle.
made it one. Of
That
course they
there
made it
was
one.
they took the picture
That's their job.
of him kind of being like, "What the fuck is going on here?" And then it was they painted it as his expression was a smug expression,
Hmm. He was
and that
wearing a Trump hat and being an anti-protester. Um,
no, he wasn't.
let's
He was
see.
on a school trip.
I thought he was wearing a Trump hat. Why did the school
I,
take him
I
to a
he might have been
protest?
wearing a Trump hat, but
Regardless, the and that's just optics. That didn't harm society. I
now
forgot who he
Salmon
was
had
and
hold
moved
on.
on and
Sam,
never heard about
it
it.
did harm society in
No.
a little incremental way,
Mm,
just like changing of a name
could
changes
better
things in a little
society.
incremental
Fine.
way.
Okay. One tiny step backward. You're
The
suggesting?
lie
Okay.
that the media told about Nick Salmon, he did sue for defamation,
Hmm.
but because the standards for defamation are so high and it costs so much to actually prove it in court,
Hmm.
he ended up settling with a number of these news stations that defamed him.
Hmm.
I would suggest
The system works.
that the bar should be lower because that those cases should have gone to court because they outright lied about him and why this situation occurred, and he should have been able to get a lot more money than he did, and also discovery should have happened on those corporations as well. The whole reason that the whole Tucker things and whatnot came out, the text messages and whatnot, is because of a defamation lawsuit by Dominion
Hmm.
against Fox News,
Hmm.
where discovery took place.
Hmm.
Salmon, because the defamation laws, the defamation rules are such that if you go to court, you may not win. Um, Even though I think his case was clear as day, a defamation case. He would and should have won that, but it's so difficult to prove, and it's so difficult to maintain your expenditures. Dominion was capable of doing that because they had lots and lots of money to spend.
Capitalism. Okay.
Well,
I mean, Dominion has the money, and Salmon might not have enough money. Those are capitalistic issues. I get it.
well, I understand where you're coming from there. Um, I just think the bar should be lowered. And guess what?
Hmm.
Under Florida's new laws, the ones that you were very upset about because you think DeSantis is a fascist,
Hmm.
um, Salmon could have won in Florida, and whatever company that he sued, whether it was CNN or MSNBC or whatever, would have had to pay his court fees. I think the
Okay.
defamation law in Florida, the new one, is actually a really good one. And you don't like it because you don't like the person that passed it.
Right. I don't trust him. I don't trust Florida Republicans. I think that they will use the law to harm people. And they will use the law, that same law, to protect themselves. That is how I see Republicans operate.
Yeah, you just assume everybody acts in bad faith. I
I
get it.
see it. It happens a lot. It keeps happening because that's what they do. So I'm taking their past actions to weigh the current law they're passing and guesstimating their future actions with that. I'm analyzing almost. Um,
Guesstimating, aka guessing.
Also, yes, also known as analyzing. Yes, guessing. Predicting things is hard, especially the future. Um, I'm predicting
It's kind of
the
a neat prediction.
Republicans will do the thing in the future that they have done many, many, many times in the past. The
Anywho,
laws that you're discussing are, I don't mind the idea of them uh, getting a little bit tougher. I don't want a Florida Republican to pass them because I don't trust them. So what stops it from happening is the breaking news cycle and the capitalism, all the money they make off of that. They will fight against this law that you're suggesting.
the one that passed in Florida.
The
Yeah.
one that passed in Florida will get
And
challenged
you will fight
by
against it too
a
because you don't
news
like who passed it.
organization. Right. Because, yeah, sometimes.
And it will
Um,
be fought by a news organization because news organizations like to lie,
no, because they like
and they don't
money,
like being
man.
punished for
They
it.
like money.
Well, sometimes lying
If
generates money.
this doesn't hit their bottom line, they won't fight it. If it hits their bottom line, they will. Because that is, again, the root of all our problems. Money.
No,
If
no,
news
the
organizations
capitalism and socialism argument is a totally different one.
news
You can
organizations
bring this
didn't
back.
used to run a
Hold on.
profit.
You can
They
bring this
didn't used to run
back
a
to
profit.
capitalism versus socialism all you want, but the fact is that it's not the root cause. And we can do the capitalism versus socialism argument if you like, uh, at any time, but uh, no. I mean, you bring it back to this, and it doesn't make sense.
Is there a news organization that isn't interested in profit? There is. It's
No.
PBS. PBS, funded by the viewers like you and the government, far less sensational, far less entertaining, far less breaking news, and far more factual than CNN. PBS, more factual, more correct, slower to get their information out because they are not trying to catch that breaking news wave. They are trying to be correct and give you the correct actual facts. And they're
I've
not
heard
profit driven.
PBS a few times and found them to be biased,
Oh, I
and I
find them
don't
to be
like that.
incredibly
Um,
boring. Well,
and biased and boring at the same time. But maybe I'll listen to them a few more times because I don't listen to them often.
okay.
Um,
I don't blame you.
so
They're boring. But this is the road you're traveling towards, is a more boring, more correct, less sensational news. And we have that right now because they're not chasing the profit motive. Oh, hi. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. If you liked what you saw, hit the like button, press the subscribe button. Uh, if you want to tell me how right I am, feel free to leave a comment. If you want to tell me how wrong I am, leave a comment too. That's good. Um, this is just kind of a hobby for me, so I appreciate you coming by, giving it a watch, and pressing the YouTube buttons. Thanks.